One of the great benefits of attending the Fixed Ops Roundtable is that we get to meet some of the best dealers in North America, and I do mean the best. And this segment is no exception. I want to welcome Dave Wilson and David Wilson Jr. from the Preston Automotive Group to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Gentlemen, welcome to the conference.
Welcome. It's great to be here.
You know, I've heard Dave and David so much about your organization, and I've seen your posts on social media. And you know, Dave, I know you've seen some of the posts that Fixed Ops Roundtable has that on as well. And I gotta ask you, if you don't mind, because I mentioned the best dealers. Dave, it's typically the best dealers who have their core values defined and in writing, you know, for the guests and for employees to see. What are your core values, and in particular, how do they pertain to fixed operations?
Well, actually, I tell you, our core values all the way around, they actually pertain to all aspects of our business. And they also really, we like to say they actually tie into our personal life also. So we have 6 core values. You know, sometimes we like to say, you know, which ones are our favorite, right? I mean, when it comes to me, a lot of people say that, you know, urgency is key, right? So that's one, you know, it's definitely one of our core values. And, you know, urgency really ties into fixed operations. It ties into it a lot, right? Because, you know, with the customer expectations today, you know, urgency is, you know, no matter from when we greet them in the service lane or we go pick their vehicle up, or whether it's the turnaround time to just get it back to them, right? We got to create, you know, we just got to create that urgency, because that's the expectations of the day, right? I mean, that's, you know, that's really the expectations of the day. And that's really, years ago, I used to call it the Walmart effect, because, you know, you could just go in and do whatever at Walmart. But now, I mean, you just look at, you know, you look at Amazon, Zappos, and things of that nature. People are looking for, you know, instant gratification. So, you know, urgency really ties into that big time. So,
and especially attention to detail is another one of our core values. And in service, in the fixed ops side of things, attention to detail is key to the success and making sure the vehicle gets back to the customer fixed right the first time, so that we don't have anything coming back to the shop or anything that needs to be resolved. So making sure that we have quality control in place, that the right technicians on the right job at the right time is crucial for any business. So we definitely like to focus on that as well. And that goes into one of our other core values, which is teamwork. And in all of our shops, a team that's working together, that's vigilant, and making sure that their processes are flawless from start to finish, from the greeting to the customer delivery at the end, is key to the success of any store. And we've seen it inside of our shops. We have a change in leadership at the top, and that teamwork can change overnight. All the same people on the team, but we add a different service manager, and he brings out the best in all the associates. And we have one store that did that in January. We had new leadership come in, just one person in December, and in January for us, they were the #1 store in their entire group based on objective. And that was leadership from the teamwork that came in just by that. So that's very exciting for us. And I'd say overall, our favorite core value, though, has to be community. And we have our logo, as you can see in the background, it's the frog. We have different color frogs for every month. We're working on having 12 different color frogs, but one of our frogs is actually a gray frog, and it's for brain tumor awareness. And it was inspired by one of our technicians that unfortunately passed away from a brain tumor. So we look at everything inside our organization and find out what's most important for our people, and we touch on that to make sure that they know that they're first and foremost with us and with our family.
Yeah. And the other, one more of our core values, and it's really amazing how they all tie in, right? You know, the other one is, you know, it's #1 on our list, but it's really, we always say our core values aren't in order, but integrity, right? So, you know, when we're working with customers, especially today, when you've, you know, when you're, you know, we have back ordered parts more so than what we did before. Right. You know, so integrity ties into transparency, you know, it really does. And, you know, just having the customers, you know, our customers, our guests really just know that when we're communicating with them with the utmost integrity. And, it's really key, and it goes really a long way because, our automotive group over the years, one of our biggest keys has been retention, not only with our team, but with our customer base. Right. So, and a lot of that has really been built around integrity. And today, it's a little bit harder today because with the back order parts situation, with the chip shortage and with, with different things, different hurdles that we have to overcome, our customers really have to trust us.
Wow, I like that sense of community, and I can tell, and that goes a long way. David, does your organization have a mission statement as well?
Yes, we do. And our mission statement is based around our associates giving a superior experience to our customers. And we, as an organization, are the ones that really set the tone with that. So our mission statement is to provide a superior workplace for our associates so that a team, we can provide our guests with a superior consumer experience. And we will express our love for every guest daily and create an experience that will result in our guests choosing the Preston Automotive Group for all of their services that we provide.
Wow. I like that a whole lot. Dave, you mentioned expectations, industry expectations, customer expectations, which are constantly on the rise. And there's been a lot of changes in expectations, right, on the part of everybody within our industry. How has that changed, if any, your core values or your mission statement?
I think the biggest thing with that is it's made us fine tune what our core values are. We haven't changed our core values at all, but we know that we have to adjust, not necessarily the meanings of the core values because they're there and that's what we stand by, but our customer expectations, especially in today's world that want instant gratification. We just know that we need to make sure that we're on the cutting edge to make sure that that experience is there for the consumer, that we understand how valuable their time is. And we also need to, especially in service side of things with part shortages and things, still relay the expectations to the customer. Sometimes it's bad news, but don't leave our customers in the dark. Don't let them not know what's going to happen. Give them the expectations. Hey, we're seeing a delay with this, but here's when you're scheduled. We'll keep you updated if anything changes. We all see changes. We all see shortages. We all see all these things. But the worst thing, especially for me as a consumer on the outside, is if something changes, I want to know about it. Don't let me find out that it changed because I have to continuously ask. So with all the technology we have today, with text messaging, with phone calls, with everything that's out there in front of us, just shooting a quick text and saying, hey, you're still scheduled for this afternoon, or hey, unfortunately, it looks like your vehicle is not going to be completed until tomorrow. I wanted to make sure our best technician was on the job so that when you get your vehicle back, you're 100% satisfied. I'm sorry for the extended delay, but we want to make sure the vehicle's perfect for you when it gets back. It'll be ready tomorrow afternoon instead of today. Those things are so easy. And on the other end, things that you want to hear because you want to make sure your vehicle's fixed. You want to make sure that you don't have an ongoing issue. I'd rather take a little bit more time and be done right the first time than rushed back to me and then me having to scurry back to get it fixed again. So just setting those expectations with the customer and being upfront and honest with them on what's going on and what's happening is critical in our business today and in the future, because we all know that customers only remember their last experience. So make sure their last experience is their best experience.
And I tell you, to piggyback off what David Jr. was talking about, the only core value we left out was personal growth, right? And, we just really have to train our team and, every single day, we need to train them every day in the ever changing, expectations of our customers and really, making sure that, they grow, in their positions, right? And they grow as their, as expectations are changing. And, I really like to mention that it's, we can't have that old school type of thinking, right? The old school type of thinking, taking care of the customer and showing the love, that, daily, that's great, but, as David mentioned, just, making sure that we communicate and actually communicate the way our customers want us, the way they want to be communicated to now. So.
What you're speaking to right now, that communication and what David mentioned, in terms of using technology, because that is part of the process now. That is part of the sales mechanism. It's part of fixed operations as well, because we as consumers, we're all interacting on our phones as well with anything that we look at or purchase or fact check. What do you gentlemen see as some of the biggest challenges for fixed operations as we move now into the future?
I think one of the biggest things is having our technicians adapt to the changes with electrification, but also staying, no matter what, combustible engines are going to be on the road for a long period of time. So it's not forgetting what we know now, but also expanding into the future of what's going to be there, and the difference on what's going to break and how to fix it. And the updates that are done over the line, or the updates that are done by computers instead of actually turning wrenches in some cases. So I think that it's having a balanced team, and a team that's willing to grow and be vigilant with what the market bears and what's ahead of us. So watching and seeing, and making sure that we have a skill set for both inside of our service departments is definitely key. And I think that the customers are also a little bit different when it comes to that. Especially in the brands that we represent, we're seeing new customers into the market that we had never seen before, especially with vehicles like the Ford Mach-E, the Ford Lightning coming out. So it's making sure that we have the expectations set for what they're used to in the past. And if we're seeing customers that are switching from a brand to us, to make sure that they say, hey, one of my biggest fears was switching to that brand because of the service that we were going to receive, and then us blowing away their expectations.
Wow, that is strong. And you know what? You mentioned electrification. That's become now a big part of the conversation, David, here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Maybe 6 months or 12 months ago, not so much. But today, all the talk, we've just had a panel on preparing the infrastructure, which I know your organization is preparing for, to be ready. Okay. And as you said, the combustible engine is not going away anytime soon. And it's certainly the great majority of our business. But there's so much that's happening in our industry that we have to be aware of. And one of the gentlemen who's been on our program several times is Ed Roberts, who's down at Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine, Florida. And Ed has kind of been championing this mobile service, which originally started out with, we had one vehicle at his Lincoln dealership, and then has grown and grown and grown it. What do you see in terms of mobile service, gentlemen? Is that a fad or something that we're going to be, embracing here for the long term?
So I think for us, our mobile approach is two-phase. We're seeing a lot of success with commercial businesses that want their vehicles up and running. So we have one of our mobile service vans that strictly focuses on that fleet maintenance work that's repetitive every single week, because these companies are using their vehicles so much they have to get serviced every week or every other week. And they don't want any downtime. So we're seeing it as more of a convenience factor for those businesses. So one of our vans doesn't start until like 9 o'clock at night. They work through the night and they get these vehicles up and running so that when they're ready to go at 4 or 5 in the morning, they don't skip a beat. So I don't think that side of the business ever changes. And I think on the customer side of the business, once you use the mobile service, it's an addiction. It's when can I get it serviced by mobile next? Our percentage, and I don't have our exact percentage. Last time I looked, and my service director could tell us exactly, but it's over 80% retention on the mobile service once they get the mobile service done once. So I think that if someone gets adjusted and has it happen, then they want it. It's just like it's everything else that you have. It's more convenient than anything else. It's just like a delivery service saying you're 7 stops away. Like, you pay attention to it, you look at it, but you walk into work and you walk back out and your vehicle service, you don't have to go sit at a dealership. Who wouldn't want to be a part of that experience?
Yeah.
So, and answer your question about it being a fad, we actually see it growing, right? We're really seeing it growing, and we actually see, because, some people aren't going to, they're not going to embrace it. Right. I mean, and, so it's, that we see that as kind of, a differentiator. Ours actually, it's kind of different because our 2 vans, they actually hit the ground right as COVID hit. And our first reaction was, and I say our first reaction, we can't take a whole lot of credit for this. Our service director's, he's a rock star. So, right, our first reaction was, we're going to have to wait. And then he woke up the next morning and said, we got to get it going. We got to get it on the road, because it made more sense for us to go to them instead of them coming to us right at that present point. So, in one sense, we could have looked at it and said, let's back burner it. And then in the other part of it, he actually said, let's get out there. And it was perceived as being safer for the customer. And it's definitely a lot more, it's definitely convenient. So we see ourselves building off of that. Not only just building off of it with the ones we have, but making sure that, we implement them, all the way throughout our group.
Yeah, and a lot of our stores are in rural markets, and some of our customers come and buy a car from over an hour away from us. So it takes that excuse away to say, hey, I don't service my vehicle with you because it's inconvenient and there's so many shops that are closer. And just like buying a car, I transition this to the service side of things. I always say we make it easier to buy than your local car dealership because we'll come to you. So then I move that right into service and say, we make it easier to service your vehicle than your local shop because we'll come to you. And when you say that to customers, it's kind of like, you can't combat it. And once they have it done and they see it, they want it. And then it's in one person's driveway and the neighbor's going, well, what just happened? And I got my vehicle serviced from the Preston Automotive Group. Actually, one of our commercials that we have running right now is focused just around our mobile service unit to get that more exposure. We have a minor league baseball affiliate that we do events at the baseball games where we service people's cars while they wait and while they're in the game. So it doesn't get easier than that, and it doesn't get more convenient than that.
David, give us, if you don't mind, the geography of Preston Automotive Group. I know you've got 15 rooftops. Tell us, whereabouts are they?
So we have stores on the Western Shore of Maryland and the Baltimore market, Baltimore, in Aberdeen, Maryland. And then our newest store that we have is in Wilmington, Delaware. And we expand all the way down to the Eastern Shore of Virginia and Keller, Virginia. Our first store that we had is right in Preston, Maryland. We have an Autoplex set up there that has Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, Nissan, Hyundai, and Genesis. And then we also have other locations throughout Delaware, in Millsboro, Georgetown, Lewis. So we have a pretty good dynamic and demographic on the East Coast, but a lot of our stores, especially our stores that we started with, are in areas that there's a little bit of travel time to get to. Some of the stores that we've recently acquired are in more metro and major market areas.
Wow. And Dave, there is significant longevity with your organization, starting out in 1975. And I remember you told me the story how you started off on the floor selling in 1977. And, for your organization to not only survive, but thrive during all these years, that really speaks a lot about the fundamentals and, of course, the core values of your organization, Dave.
Yeah, like I did tell you, I started really fresh out of high school. I had different plans. Actually, my parents had paid for my first tuition to college, but I ran into a very good friend of mine. He said, you should try selling cars. So, I did. I tried for that. I actually started selling in August of '77, and got very lucky, got blessed, as far as the way things were, and I became a partner in 1981. So became a partner at 22 years old. And, really when I actually came into that part of it, I had no clue what I was getting into. Matter of fact, if I had it do all over again, I probably would have been scared. But, that's really the way, that I started. But the person that I referenced that got me into the business, the biggest thing that, and he sold cars and actually ended up leaving that dealership and then ended up coming back to us. But the biggest thing that he always, he really, really stressed all the time was customer service, and, don't forget them after the sale, and just he always embodied that. And then, really as we've grown and as we've really looked at, as we've looked at our business model, we just, our biggest thing is, like I referenced before, personal growth is really just, educating our team, educating our team, not only on our core values, but on our roots, where we came from. And that's, that part of it, we really consider our team family. And, our name is Wilson, but we reference them as the Preston family. And, and we're part of that Preston family. And when you have that, when you have that and you're really not just saying it, you actually mean it. It does really it creates a great work environment, which really translates to a consumer experience that's second to none, which ties right into our mission statement.
And Dave, I knew today we were inviting a retail star in the automotive industry on our show because you have a lot of close friendships with friends of the Fixed Ops Roundtable that we've discussed, such as Fred Beans, such as Bob Tasker III, and Sam Pack. And we announced you as a speaker, but I didn't realize that the real rock star is just sitting to your right, okay, on our left. That's David Wilson, because when we announced David was speaking, there were so many accolades that came out about your organization. So, Dave, I think your organization is going to be in great hands moving into the future.
Yeah, I do not have any. I don't have. There's no worry in my mind on that. I mean, and really, the cool thing about David is that he, over the years, I mean, he's really embraced, and then he's really made our organization thrive. And it's really just, taken a lot of what we have done and, what we've done in the past and, really turbocharged it. I mean, it really has. And one of the biggest things that I'm the proudest of, right? For one thing, I'm proud to be named in the same sentence as the three people you named. I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that. But one of the things that I'm really proudest of is David's commitment to community and really the commitment to our Preston family.
Yeah, I could see it. Gentlemen, on behalf of the Fixed Ops community and the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you so much for spending some time with us today and giving us some insights into the Preston Automotive Group and into your dealerships and your organization's culture. Dave Wilson and David Wilson Jr. here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.